How you doing, guys? Welcome back. It's LSP. Is Binance going higher or is Binance going lower? This is what we're going to try and find out today. We're going to break everything down. We're going to go through the analysis. We're going to look at different liquidity pools, blocks, all the good stuff. And then once we find something that makes sense, we're going to stick with it and we're going to see whether or not this unfolds. We're going to do an ongoing study, right? So we take a look at the daily chart like this, and let me just jump up to the weekly. We know where we've just come from, right? Price has come down. It's hit this liquidity pool. We define this daily pool down here, and we know that price has responded from that. We've had a couple of days really strong, and then obviously we're sitting on today, right? So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make this our level, all right? And these two highs here, right, in my opinion, are most likely to get traded through. And I'll give you an example, or at least the reasoning why I believe that that is indeed going to be the case. Now, first of all, the first thing that we have to know is the fact that price is grinding to the upside, but it isn't showing any signs of pulling back. There isn't any sort of aggressive move up and an aggressive pullback and then another aggressive move up. We're not really seeing that. We've just seen a nice move to the upside, a little bit of capitulation on the end, and then obviously we're stabilizing up in this area. We're seeing the same thing on Bitcoin, we're seeing the same thing across the board, including US equities markets, the UK markets, and so on, right? So with that said, as we stabilize in this area, right, if we drop down to the 4-hour chart and we start to look at how price is moving, we've had that first, or should I say that last capitulatory sort of impulse that goes very close to that high, and then it starts to pull back, and you get a really nice rejection, comes down again, a little bit of a rejection, comes down again, a little bit of a rejection. So we're almost like coiling to do one of two things, either break down or rip to the upside to take out these highs. Now, it doesn't seem like a big deal, right? When you look at price like this, you're talking about maybe, $18 or so. So price basically going from 300 to around about 320. Great. It's okay. Puts, sort of Binance clearly above the 300 mark and away from that level, enough for people to be confident that, yeah, this may continue to go. But the question is that likely to happen? Are we actually seeing enough to say, yes, that's probably going to be the case? I think we are, right? So you can see that price drops here pretty aggressively, right? Stabilizes. And this is the key to all of this that we're seeing, right? We've had a pickup of buy side liquidity twice, and then price starts to grind sideways, and then it breaks out to the upside, right? So this right here was it's a consolidation. It's been like that for some time. We've been sitting through this for ages, right? All the way through last year, not all the way, but for a good portion of last year, and then obviously now we finally break out of this, and we break out enough, to say it's very unlikely for now that we're probably going to retest these levels. And if we do, it would have to be something pretty dramatic to see Binance come all the way down, around about $50, $55, back down 17-18% down to this consolidation, right? So the path of least resistance is to the upside. This is probably where Binance is going to end up just by default of normal market movement and a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction. Now, if that happens, right, and we do finally get above these highs, there's not really much else for us to look at and say, okay, I'll just go to the daily. I mean, there is an area up here, and I know the chart's getting a little bit cluttered, but there is an area just here, okay, where price could potentially be driving for maybe 335 to around about 345, this sort of sweet spot. But ultimately, that last final push into these areas, to ultimately do one of two things, either slow down and then start to drop a little bit, come back into the range, or continue to the upside to around about sort of 330, 340, 350, right? So that's kind of the analysis at the moment. And look at this consolidation. You can clearly see it's a full breakout. Whether or not this is going to continue, remains to be seen. There's a lot going on in the markets. There's a lot of news coming this week. There's obviously the Fed has, a lot going on, and anything that they say could potentially spook the market, and put us all the way back down here, to be honest. But for now, we have to go with the analysis. We've got to be objective. We've got to focus on what we're seeing. And I do see a little bit more upside on Binance. And if Binance is probably going to go up, then it's likely that Bitcoin is going to do the same. The charting analysis is very similar. So I don't need to go over to Bitcoin. I wanted to focus predominantly on Binance today. So with all of that said, I hope everyone's having an awesome day, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next update. All the best. Take care. Ciao for now.